Hi all, I am in the office today, as you can see, and I thought I would do hopefully what's going to be a relatively quick video explaining my planning process. I know in the previous video I said I wasn't going to do a video like this, but I'm kind of right in the middle of laying everything out, so I thought while I was doing that I might as well record a video, a bonus video for you all. So I think I'll probably do a voiceover for this portion, but hope you enjoy the video. And just in case you're new around here, here's a quick introduction about what my videos are, or what this channel is about most of the time, with the exception of course, this week's planning video. Hi there, I'm Stacy, the encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. All right, I use a program called Trello. It is a free program, and I like it because I can use it both on my desktop computer, and there's also an app that I can put on my phone, so I can reference it when I'm out and about, downstairs making dinner, in the studio across the way, anywhere I don't have my computer. I have the app on my phone and I can reference it from there. And it's called Trello. So that's what I use to plan out my days. Actually, to plan out a lot of things, but we'll talk about planning out for Studio Stacy business here first. All right, all, here we are in the marketing calendar board that I have set up. And this is what it looks like basically at the end of the year when I kind of have everything figured out and planned out. And what I'm doing now is I'm just going to go through and delete the cards out of the boards or the lists from last year. So I'm just going through each month and deleting everything out because hopefully by this point in time, I've completed all of those things. And I'm just deleting the cards off of these lists. I'm not deleting the list because the list is the month for the year. And I'm going to continue to use these. And I accidentally deleted August, so I'm just adding August back in here. The other really nice thing about Trello is you can move things around really easily. For example, I'm not planning on making a new collection anytime soon, but I want to keep the card just in case. So I'm just moving it off to possible ideas list, and that's what I have here. Just a list of things that I might eventually do. All right, now that I have the cards moved around where I want them and the other cards archived that I don't need anymore, I'm going to be creating a couple new cards. These are some goals that I know I want to complete in the first part of the year, like finish the big tree painting series. So I'm just creating cards that I know I want to do. And the nice thing with this is that you can also make a checklist. So in here, I've added things like finish the big sycamore tree painting. I know I want to make 2 more medium-sized paintings because I already have the panel made, the oak and the maple tree. So along with that, I also know that I need to sketch out the oak and the maple trees. And I also need to create the leaf prints for the oak and the maple trees. So by creating this checklist, I have an idea of the things I want to accomplish to finish this big tree painting series. Hopefully this is making sense to y'all. The other nice thing about these checklists is once you've created the checklist, you can then convert portions of it into cards. So right now I have the art show card open, and I want to convert research art shows into a card that I can then drag into January because I know I need to research these art shows at the beginning of January. As you can see, I also have different color labels for the cards. So I have to-do lists, I have YouTube, I have a newsletter. When I was doing Instagram, I had a color code for Instagram. So I can easily take a look at the calendar or things that are on today and see that I need to make sure my YouTube video is out. I need to, see what I have to do for that day. It's just quick and easy at a glance because it is color coded. And once I drag these things into January and create the labels for them, you can also assign due dates. And a lot of times I assign the same due date if I'm not exactly sure when I am going to want to do them. And then I'll go into calendar mode, which I will show you here shortly, and move these things around in the calendar mode. It's just easier for me to do it this way. You can also create cards in the calendar mode, but this just seems easier, especially when I'm first starting to plan some things out. So as you can see, I'm just sticking the due date on here for January 20th, just so I have something in there. All right, now before I get too carried away with planning out all my months, I want to make sure I add in any important holidays that we might have, any appointments that I might have, any trips that we might have scheduled. I don't have any trips scheduled as of right now, but I'm definitely adding in the various different holidays. And that's just because I don't want to release a painting on a holiday or a painting collection, or, perhaps I don't want to release a video on a holiday. So I'm just making sure those are in there and in the calendar. All right, once I have the holidays set up for the months and I have a lot of the different cards and to-do tasks figured out, in the beginning of the months, let's go into the calendar view so you can see what this looks like. Now, again, I have a bunch of stuff all grouped together because I wasn't exactly sure how my days were going to work out. So once I'm in the calendar mode, I can then start to drag them around, figure out if these are realistic due dates, things like that. Make sure things are spread out evenly. Make sure I have a YouTube video released every Tuesday, newsletters at the end of the month, things like that. And I think you can see here, it's just really easy to drag things around in this calendar mode. For example, I found out, hey, I skipped a Tuesday. Let's drag this video up a week. And then I can drag the following video up a week just to make sure I'm not skipping anything. And you can see that this also, I want to make sure I have a video coming out every Tuesday. So this helps me just make sure I'm keeping on track with my goals and things like that. It's a great program just to goal plan and then really see your calendar and your month in a very clear view. All right, I mentioned earlier that you can also create cards in the calendar mode. So for example, I know I want this bonus video to come out on the 15th of January. So I'm just adding it into the calendar mode because I know that's the due date I want to set. And as you can see, I can put it into the January list as well. Also in here, you can add the various different labels. So I'm just adding the purple YouTube label here. All right, I wanted to show you real quick. Here is what January looks like as of right now. At the time I'm recording it, this is January 6th. So you can see a lot of January is filled in, but I also have some space to add in some various different tasks if I need to add anything in on some of these days that perhaps only have one item to do. And then if I keep scrolling down, here is the month of February, which looks very empty. It is certainly not going to stay this empty, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Like, I know I want to have videos come out every Tuesday, and these videos are kind of already in somewhat of the works. I already kind of know what I want to plan or film rather. And then, of course, I know I want to do a newsletter at the end of February. And of course, the different holidays in February. So I think you get the picture. But if we scroll up to, here is the month of December. So you can see some of these days have, multiple things going on. And as the month goes on, I am sure January will start to really get quite filled in as well. But I just thought I wanted to kind of give you that idea. And then if I go back out of calendar mode here,
you can see here is what my list looks like. So January and February already have quite a few cards in them. March only has a few different things, and I'm not even sure that this video is going to stay here in March. And if I scroll over, the rest of the months only have the holidays listed because I don't have anything scheduled out that far in them, but I could easily do that if I wanted to, anytime I want to. So there you have it. There is the Studio Stacy portion of my planning in Trello. All right, if we go back out of my marketing calendar into my main Trello board, you can see I use Trello for a few other things like meal planning, some tree series paintings, and my crochet and knitting. And it's the same concept in these boards. So I have different checklists for the different garments I want to make. The other nice thing about Trello, you can link different websites. So, you can easily link different tutorials, the garment I want to make, things like that. So I just wanted to point that out. And next I will take you into the meal planning list so you can see how I meal plan. All right, I think this is the last thing I want to show you, so let's go into meal planning. And in this particular card or board, you can see I do not have a calendar power-up. I don't have the calendar set up on this. I just have these cards, or lists rather. So I have a meal plan for this week, I have a meal plan for next week, a meal plan for next week, and a meal plan for next week. 4 weeks out is what I like to meal plan. And again, it's kind of this same concept. I have different cards set up with different labels on them. So for example, I need to have a vitamin K throughout the week. So I have labels set up with vitamin K. This happens to be the red label. And it's, again, very easy to add these labels into the cards. And you can also see I also have the various different recipes linked. If I've gotten them online, I have them linked. The nice thing about this is because I have Trello also on my phone, the app, while I'm downstairs cooking dinner, I can just pull up the app, click on this card, and it'll take me right to the recipe. Easy peasy, don't have to print anything out. I also have a list for meals in the freezer because I want to keep track of what meals I have in there to make sure we are using them up and they are not getting buried in the back of our refrigerator. Also have a label for leftovers so I know that if a particular meal is going to last us a couple nights, I can schedule that on out. So we have meals in freezer, cookbooks and other. I have also various different people that I use a lot. For example, there's Eamon and Beck, and then there's pickup lines. Both of these I use pretty frequently. Of course, then there's just a general online. There's crock pot meals, soups, venisons, juices, breakfast, desserts. I think you get the general idea here. You can create as many lists as you would like. And then once again, it's very easy just to drag something on over. For example, if we want Tasty Bite here on this Monday, I just drag it into Monday. If we've already eaten that meal, I can drag it back over to where the list came from, which was out of the cookbooks and other. And for example, here in the freezer, say we've eaten this zucchini pizza casserole, which we actually have, I can just go in up here to these 3 dots, hit the archive button, and then hit the delete button. And this will delete the card permanently, which is fine because the meal is now out of our freezer. So it's a great way to keep track of everything. And as you can see, it took it out of that list as well. So hopefully this was helpful as far as meal planning. I think it's great and it's really incredibly convenient and easy to use.
All right, all. Hopefully you found all of this planning helpful. If for some reason I wasn't clear on something, please let me know down there below in the comments. Happy to answer any questions that I can. I'm also wondering if you use a planning app at all for planning out whether it's meals or your goals, your week, projects, anything like that. If you use something and if it works well for you. This video is not at all sponsored by Trello. I've just used it for many years and really enjoy it. But I'm always open to new ideas, so let me know down there below if you plan anything out and if you use a app or program to help you kind of take a look at things. And on that note, I am going to let you go here. Hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It truly does help me out. Consider subscribing if you're not already. Painting videos will be coming your way very shortly. Again, thanks so much for joining me, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.